This week, we're going to look into one of my very favorite movies from my youth. I saw it when it first came out in the movie theaters. I obsessively watched this with one of my friends. We made up our own dances to it. We sang to it. It is the 1979 movie, The Muppet Movie. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Stacia, and I'm just a girl on the internet that likes to talk about movies. After we saw it in the theaters, it was one of the first movies that we had on Betamax also. So I used to watch this at home all the time when it came out. The movie, The Muppet Movie, is about Kermit and his friends going to Hollywood to try to make it. Of course, Jim Henson voices Kermit the Frog, Rowlf, Dr. Teeth, Waldorf, the Swedish chef, all of his classic Jim Henson characters. And you have Frank Oz as Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, Animal, Sam the Eagle. You have Jerry Nelson as Floyd Pepper, Crazy Harry, Robin the Frog, Richard Hunt as Scooter, Janice, Sweetums, Beaker. You have Dave Goelz as Gonzo, Zoot, Dr. Bunsen. And then, of course, you have Charles Durning as Doc Hopper and Austin Pendleton as Max. And you have a cavalcade of stars making guest appearances in this movie. You have Edgar Bergen playing himself. You have Milton Berle playing Madman Mooney. Mel Brooks is Professor Max Craftsman. James Coburn playing the El Sleazo Cafe owner. Dom DeLuise is Birdie the agent. Elliot Gould is in the beauty contestant scene. Bob Hope as an ice cream vendor. Madeline Kahn as a patron of the El Sleazo. Carol Kane as Myth. Cloris Leachman as Lord Secretary, Steve Martin as the waiter, Richard Pryor as a balloon vendor, Telly Savalas as like the El Sleazo tough guy, Orson Welles plays New Lord, Paul Williams is the pianist at the El Sleazo. Just a cavalcade of cameo parts. One of the greatest things about the Muppets and the Muppet Movie is it's always very smart. They didn't play down to kids. A lot of inside jokes that at that time went over my head, but I can watch it now. Or even when you're a little bit older and you get the inside jokes. So it wasn't little kiddish completely. Like it seems like a lot of the kid stuff just talks down to kids today. The Muppets were always smart and clever and appealed to children as well. That in itself was really the beauty of Jim Henson also. All of his works made for kids, but didn't try to dumb it down for kids. The Muppet Movie was also made for about $8 million and made over $66 million at the box office. For years, it was the highest grossing Muppet movie until the release of The Muppets in 2011. But cost and dollar return and adjusting for inflation, The Muppet Movie made leaps and bounds over that movie and was a huge hit and a cultural phenomenon at that time. The Muppets had the Muppet Show on TV. If you weren't around in the heyday of the Muppets, and I know they go on for years and make movies, and there's the Muppet Christmas Carol and the Great Muppet Caper, which is one of my favorites, Muppets Take Manhattan. But during the 70s and 80s, the Muppets were huge. I don't think people today realize just how big the Muppets were, not only for kids, but for everybody. The adult world adored the Muppets at that time. The Muppet Show played in prime time and was just as for adults as it was for kids. At the time that this movie was released, The Muppet Show was the most popular TV show in the world. An estimated 235 million viewers across the world, 102 countries, watched it every week. In this movie, Kermit plays, just a simple frog in a swamp who gets the idea from a passerby of Dom DeLuise that he could make it in Hollywood. And this is his journey, picking up friends along the way, making friends along the way, of making it to Hollywood while being chased by Doc Hopper, who wants to use Kermit as the spokesperson for his Frog Legs restaurant. Also, the Muppet Movie is a road movie. It is a love letter to America. And of course, this is a Muppet movie, so it is a musical with some of the best music of any musical. I mean, this is the movie with the song The Rainbow Connection, the song Moving Right Along. And a lot of this was written by Paul Williams, along with Jim Henson and Kenny Asher, but also the classic songs of Can You Picture That? Never Before, Never Again. I Hope Something Better Comes Along. I'm Gonna Be Back There Someday. It's just the soundtrack to the Muppet Movie is just as wonderful as the movie itself. And the Muppet Movie, was Jim Henson's excuse to use a larger budget and the grandeur of a feature film, push the technological limits of puppetry and its capabilities. One of the more difficult things that it achieves in this movie is making Kermit appear to ride a bicycle by itself, which no CGI, of course, in these movies. That is actually done on screen. A lot of these things that happen in this movie, when Animal gets large, Jim Henson didn't want to use miniatures. That is actually a really large animal that they built. And like I said, this movie has a lot of cameos. Edgar Bergen, who is, of course, a famous puppeteer of Charlie McCarthy and Candice Bergen's father. This is actually the last thing that he ever filmed. He died shortly after his scene was shot in 1978. Jim Henson cited on many occasions how Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy influenced his interest in puppetry when he was a kid. And the end credits actually include a dedication to Bergen. Orson Welles plays a studio executive in this movie called Lou Lord, who signs them to the standard rich and famous contract. It's a reference to a real-life producer called Lou Gray, who, when Jim Henson was trying to find a producer to make the Muppet Show, no American network really understood or was interested in the concept of the Muppet Show. And Gray recognized Henson's vision and really made the Muppet Show possible. So Orson Welles' character of Lou Lord was a tribute to Lou Gray, who really made the Muppets possible. The Muppet Movie was a huge hit. It was actually the 10th largest grossing movie of 1979. And besides just cameos by famous actors of the day and days before, it has a Big Bird cameo in it. They come across Big Bird on their road trip to California. He's headed the other way, and Big Bird tells them he is going to New York City to break into public television, an obvious reference to Sesame Street, which, of course, Sesame Street is the television show that popularized the Muppets. Jim Henson's dream was actually to direct this movie as well. And he really wanted to do that. He saw himself as an experimental filmmaker before a puppeteer in his eyes. Lou Grade and Frank Oz convinced Henson otherwise, as the requirements for performing and developing the puppetry techniques that enabled the Muppets to interact with the real world seamlessly in this movie They thought this was going to be too much for him to take on for his first movie that he directed. And of course, the Muppet Movie is in the National Film Registry. It was nominated for 2 Oscars in 1980 for Best Original Song for The Rainbow Connection and Best Music Original Score. It didn't win either of those. It was nominated for Grammys also. It won one of them for Best Album for Children. And I really do think it holds up today because of that smart, witty writing. I think anybody can really watch the Muppet Movie and really enjoy it. Some of the things are going to go over your head because of it being a little dated, like the cameos in it. I can see a lot of people who are younger not knowing who some of those people are, but still enjoying the movie because of how smartly written and put together it is. And who doesn't know the Muppets, even in this day and age with younger people? At least I hope that's the case. So if you're younger and you've never seen any Muppet stuff, I encourage you to give the Muppet Movie a try. It is a delightful movie to watch. You can't watch this movie and not come away just loving the Muppets. If you watched The Muppet Show and The Muppet Movie and all the Muppet films when you were younger, tell me what you just loved about them. I mean, I would watch this movie religiously. Like I said, I saw it when it first came out in the movie theaters. I was obsessed with this. Me and my friend at the time, Shane Ulitsky, wherever you are, we used to sit there and watch it together when my family had it on Betamax in 1980 and dance and sing along to all the songs. It was such a joy to watch. And the Muppets, like I said, was such a cultural phenomenon at the time. I mean, can you believe the most popular show in the world? Thank you for joining me this week for my look at the movie, The Muppet Movie from 1979, a nostalgic comfort movie for me that I think really still holds up today. But thank you for joining me. My name is Stacia, and I am just a girl on the internet that likes to talk about movies, and I thank you for joining me. If you like movies as much as I do, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel and help me get to 1,000 subscribers. I always love when you guys comment and give me a thumbs up. I try to respond to as many of the comments as I can also. I am over 875 subscribers now, looking to get to 1,000 by the end of July, which I believe I can do. I am almost there, so thank you all that have already subscribed to the channel. So again, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, thank you for commenting, and thank you for sharing this and giving me a thumbs up. I will see you next time. I love you all. Bye.